Hi everyone. So today's card's going to be a little bit different. I'm actually going to use Lawn Fawn's Scallop Treat Box Winter House add-on die to create a card rather than the Scallop Treat Box. And so I have a white piece of cardstock for the background, and the piece I've just shown there with the sort of hills, the stitched hills, is actually from the stitched hillside backdrop in the landscape format, and I've just cut the top part, which is kind of like a frame around it. I've just cut that off, trimmed it off, and that creates two hills that are sort of linked, but depending how you actually stick it down will depend on whether you can put little pieces like trees or a house or whatever it is in those, sort of tuck it in the hillside that's in the forefront. And I've used some tumbled glass distressing just to give it an edge, so it looks a bit like, I want to say a bit like snow, but it's not really snow. so I also decided to use the tumbled glass for the snowy backdrop, which I am using another one of these stamp sets, one of the winter stamp sets that I showed earlier, and it has a lovely backdrop for snow as if it's falling. So I've just done that there. And I'm also going to take some of the, I think this is Toboggan Together. No, it's not Toboggan Together. I can't remember. Anyway, it's I'm taking 3 of the individual snows, like sort of little dots that create little snowflakes, and I am just adding them in where there's too many gaps. I just felt like it needed more, so I could have left it as it was, and that would have been fine. But you know, you always need more snow, so that's what I did. And yeah, I went a bit mad and couldn't help myself, just kept going and going and going. So now that I've got that done, I'm going to take the pieces that I've cut so that I can create a house. So normally these pieces, other than the sort of I think it's crumb cake cardstock for Stampin' Up, other than that block, the rest of the pieces are actually from the Winter House add-on. And normally the idea behind it is to create a little scallop treat box, which is what they are sized for. But I decided to use this instead and create a little house to go on the front of a card, just for something a bit different. So just look at your dies and see whether you can use them for more than what they're intended for, and that way you'll get more out of them. So for this one I'm doing a winter house. Obviously that's the name of it, but you could easily use this depending on the colors you use and all that sort of thing. You could easily use this for all year round. You know, a new home card, I can't think now, but what else you could use it for, birthday cards, whatever it is. And obviously I'm having some trouble getting the roof on. I don't know why, but it took me forever. So I'm just adding the door on. Now the door does open, but I decided to stick it flat. There is like a little score line on the left hand side, so it will actually open. So you could create, like here I'm putting a bit of yellow behind the window to create what would be the glow in the windows. You could do the same thing, and there is a die to cut out a piece that will go behind the door if you wanted it open. So you could create your own little scene within that doorway if you wanted to. All the cardstock I used here I think is Stampin' Up, if I remember. So we've got Whisper White, I've got I want to say Cherry Cobbler is my favourite. I love that colour. Garden Green, I always get that the wrong way around, and Crushed Curry for the yellow. So and then the crumb cake for the base of the house. I just guessed on the house size. The crumb cake piece, I just kind of measured the roof and then went in slightly smaller so it looked like it was overhanging. It's not hard maths, but I cannot remember because I did this so long ago. I cannot remember the size of it, but honestly it's not tricky to do that, to work that bit out. So on the tree, these are all in the die set. I'm just putting the little baubles on it and the star, of course. Every Christmas tree Hello. Every Christmas tree needs a star or something on the top. So now I've got my little elements and I've got my scene, so I'm trying to decide where I want to put this. Now, granted, the house looks massive. I can't talk today. Looks massive compared to the rest of the background, but it still worked. I think it worked alright-ish in the end. It wasn't the best card I've ever made, but I still wanted to share it with you because, well, I'd made it and I wanted to show you what else you could do with your dies, not just using them on the actual treat box. So just lining it up as best I can. It's probably an easier way to do this, guys, but you know me. And also, excuse me, oh, talk about that, that's good mid-flow on a video to sneeze. The other thing is, I can't remember what I was going to say there. Anyway, so because the house for me looked a little out of proportion to the rest of the background, I decided the tree didn't look quite right either. So he looks more like he should be in the background, although that kind of works there. But he looks like he should be more in the background, so it sort of gives you a bit more depth. That's what I was going to say. You could also use, I've stuck everything down completely flat, but you could also use some 3D foam on the like snowy banks and on the house and all that sort of thing, to sort of give it more dimension. I had some dimension on the roof, but I decided that, you know, the rest of it being flat was going to be just fine. I'm also using a stamp for the sentiment from my pink stamps. I think it's called Winter Punnies. I'm sure it's Winter Punnies. And it's a lovely little set. It is punny, which I love. So I just decided to use that in some crumb cake ink from Stampin' Up, which is also, it just ties in all the crumb cake, and then I've got a crumb cake base for my card as well. And I'm just going to stick that completely flat. I am going to add some bling because, you know, it's Christmas and why not. And I'm going to use some crystal glaze, which is a Nouveau product, Tonic Nouveau product. My cat is howling outside my door. And I don't think I used any. Did I use sparkle? I think I did. I think I used a Nouveau White Blizzard, I think it's called. I really should write this stuff down. And so the glaze is going on the windows and the baubles. I think I do the star as well, and the little bow on the door, or on the wreath on the door. And then the bling comes in when I bring in, like, so that'll be nice and shiny when it dries. You can sort of see it in the camera, so that's good. And when it dries, it goes really, really glossy. So now I'm using, yes, White Blizzard. I wondered if I'd shown that. And I'm going to add what should hopefully look a little bit like snow. So you know how snow sparkles in the sun. That's why I added this in. And it's a really lovely thing. It dries clear, so you don't see any, there's no colour as such, but it just gives a hint of glitter that is, sparkle that's there, but not not in a colour. That's what I was trying to say. So I decided to add it to some of the snow in the background as well. Just to add a bit more bling. You can't have enough at Christmas, right? Please tell me we can't have enough. So yeah. So just adding that in, and that's it really. When that dries clear, it will, and it dries, you'll see more of the sparkle. At the moment, it just looks a bit blobby and a bit gloopy, but it does dry really clear, and so the sparkle will come out in the Nouveau drops, and also the glaze will look super shiny. So I hope you like this video. Sorry, it's a bit all over the place. It's been a day and a half or a week and a half, and I hope to see you in the next one, guys. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the notification bell if you want to see more from me. Bye.